This starts out with a very bold statement, and I think sometimes it's kind of challenging to us when we see this word sin, because it's power-packed. You know, they're just a word that kind of can jar you a little bit. It's 259. It says, "Let me remember there is no sin." Right there, that is a kind of a dynamic in the Course that you don't hear in a lot of other spiritual thought systems. It tells us some very basic truths that does have a tendency to make the Course stand out. When it says there is no sin, and it makes perfect sense to me. If you think where the concept of sin came from is that we did something to the Creator of all. God, the Creator of the world, He did it in 6 days, and on that 7th day then He rested. Then man comes along, and that darn woman tempts man, how about that? We got blamed for that. Tempts man to partake of the fruit of the tree of good, of the idea of good and knowledge. So if he partakes of the tree of knowledge, now he has the idea of good and evil. God told him not to touch that tree, told him not to talk to that serpent, and probably told Adam, don't pay all that much attention to Eve. And then, you know, we just can't stop talking. But so that's the reason God got so mad at his children for making one mistake that he kicks them out of paradise. That's sin. That is the beginning of sin. And from then on out, you know, man will have to labor hard for a living. Woman will bear pain and suffering in childbirth. She's going to pay for it. You know, is kind of this idea. Because of one mistake, if you will. And I've often brought this up here. If our children how many times did your children or friends of yours, kids, make a mistake? Did you kick them out of the house? No. You know, did we banish them from our minds for all eternity? Did we label them with the scarlet S, you know, for sin? No. So why would we ever think that the Creator of the universe, the one who's been spoken about as love, would do that to us? Except for, let's say, primitive man, you know, the mythology of man, it kind of made sense to understand how we got to where we are. Why are we in this dilemma where bad things seem to happen and evil seems to be out there and fear seems to be out there? What the Course would say is, there does seem to be this in our minds, but it is not because of what God did to separate us. It is because we have fallen asleep, as the Course would say, to our reality. And in our dream, we have made something that makes sense to us only in a dream. Have you ever tried to explain a dream that you've had when you woke up? I'm going to remember this dream. It was so clear, so vivid, it had so many great details, and you try to explain it to a person, and the kangaroo is jumping into the water and swimming with the bear. You know, it's like they make no sense. Your dreams never make it, but in the moment of the dream, they make such clarity to us. Same thing has happened here. The insanity of this made sense, but as we begin to grow, as we begin to have these personal experiences with this infinite knowledge within us, with love, with spirit, we realize this doesn't make sense. Why would God abandon his children for one thought, one mistake? We wouldn't do that. Why would he? So what this is this is what has happened in our mind, in a dream thought, that proves to us why the world is as evil as it is. When the Holy Spirit, Jesus came, if you will, to prove to us a different creation story. His creation story goes like this. It's the story of the prodigal son. The son wanders away from his father, thinks he could make a world, his own life, better than what his father had. And so he wanders away, and what happens to him? He squanders all of his money. He squanders everything. And when he comes home, he's ashamed to come home to his father. But when he does come home, what does the father say? Come home. We'll have a party. I welcome you. Doesn't that sound more like a creation story that makes sense with the loving God that we've been told is the truth in every great, major, perennial thought system? Yeah. Christianity says God's a God of love. Judaism says God is a God of love. We have this idea that God is a God of love. He's got this mean side to him, we hear, you know, to justify why the world is the way it is. But Jesus came along and is touted by even Mohammed as being a very great teacher. And he says, no, no, God is love. He focuses his creation story on the prodigal son. So we need to come home. We need to come home to the love that created us. We need to come home to the love that we are. We need to come home to sane thinking. We don't have sane thinking right now. We believe in something that we just don't look at. Sin happened. Garden of Eden happened. We got kicked out. Now what do we do? But you need to cast a little light on where that started from to see that it really doesn't make a lot of sense in the big scheme of things.